We are back at Elysian Jeju for round number 2 of the S-Oil Championship. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to the KLPGA Tour. It is a pleasure, as always, to have you aboard. It is the final day of all 96 players in the field. By day's end, we will, of course, cut the field down and look ahead to the weekend of this 30th event of the 2025 KLPGA calendar. The second to last before the WeMix Championship. We're down to the brass tacks. Conditions today, as we might have been able to sneak a guess, mostly cloudy skies. There was a little bit of rain earlier in the round for some. It's currently 17 degrees, but the hallmark of a round or any tournament on Jeju is the wind. Currently 4.7 meters per second. That is variable. It will change repeatedly throughout the course of the afternoon. One of the things for these players to keep in mind, and one of the reasons that our defending champion Matt Tassom said the putter is going to win for whomever can master it the best. We even saw last night, just as we were heading off the air, I think at least a dozen of these players still on the practice putting greens before they were ready to call it a day. Let's see if any of that practice has paid off. One good putt made, and now this from Pake Jun to save a par. As we hit the refresh button, on the leaderboards, we can tell you a few different things. The thing that everyone is most curious about, as always, is what's the score to beat and who has it. The score to beat is currently held by Kochi 1 at a 10 under par mark. We do have 3 players, including the one you just saw make an approach, at 7 under par. We have a 1 billion won prize money pool to distribute in about 72 hours time, with 180 million set aside for the champion, 110 for runner-up, and 80 for P3. Now, on any normal weekend, that's an enticement on its own, but this late in the season, even more so, racing for the prize money championship. Chee Bun, she is at +2 after 27 holes completed. Beginning her time on the lake course, the front 9, the pine course, the back 9 is where Kochi 1, our leader, begins. She is already today 6 under. Pretty remarkable front 9. The only holes she didn't birdie were the 2nd, the 7th, and the 8th. And if we were to say a projection, well, she would be on pace for a 60. Which would be mind-boggling and very improbable, but that work she did on the aforementioned lake course will surely pay some dividends for her over the course of the next 2.5 to 3 hours. Hangmin Jung also with plus numbers, +5 is tied for 84th position. Projected cut right now, +1 gets you into the weekend, +2 wouldn't quite cut it, no pun intended. The front right pin placement, that approach goes into the back corner. And the last tee off in this group on number 1. The fairway is wide open, it's Kanji Sun. +6, tied for 89th. We started with 96. We did see 3 withdrawals. So Jian, Kim Ji-hyun, and Pang-Shin Shil, who was one of our featured athletes yesterday. She shot a 73 and just didn't quite feel it clicking, and she decided enough was enough after round 1. Well, this is the wily superstar veteran, Chun Gi. And she's up into the top 10 by the end of her round. She shoots a bogey-free 68. turning back the clocks today and will very much have a thing or two to say about how things shape up this weekend. A great round from the veteran. Kim Seol missing the fairway at 11, just left of it. And Moon Jung-min, as always, certainly in the first two rounds, when you get to this 10th hole, there's typically a wait. As we begin our broadcast, there are 5 groups all waiting to begin their back nines. Next up is Lee Dae-yeon. So playing in this group with Moon Jung-min and Lee Ji-hyun 3. She is even after 9. She shot a 67.5 under par round yesterday, with one exception late in the back nine. She did really well to avoid bogeys. Today she's just been unintentionally a little averse to the birdies. Bogey 5, birdie 6 for an even 36 at the turn. Now Chung Soo-yeon. Just a little chip and a run down a quick green. Has been all pars ever since the 4th hole. Started with a birdie, followed that up with a bogey, picked up another birdie at 3, and has been even par on the preceding half a dozen or so holes. Im Jin-young, meanwhile, at -2. She's seen some struggles in the round so far. At +2, has yet to birdie. Those bogeys coming in the heart of the front nine at 4 and 5, the par 4s. She runs the perimeter of the fairway out to the right, but that will be one to count as a fairway in regulation. Eight and a half meters for Sogyo Reem as she looks for a birdie at 10. Doesn't get the left break that she needed. That stayed straight and that stayed quick. Well past the pin. Mata Sohm, our defending champion, she's at 5 under, but is looking at a 4-meter eagle at 14. Couldn't cash in on a glorious opportunity. She's already at 3 under today. She could have gone all the way up to a tie for 3rd with the eagle. Instead, she settles for the birdie and makes it a tie for 6th position. Kochi 1 looking to add to her advantage. She has putted so well today. Just a little bit too much distance. Made being slightly off on the break costly. She settles for par. Im Jin-young's second, 133 meters. Rolls that on the front. Maybe could have used a bit more club. And that's despite having a rather significant and very helpful tailwind. How about this? Park Young-kyung, 3 under at the turn. 2 more birdies picked up at 13 and 14. This 7 under is I think undeniably the round of the day, and it might even be the round of the week so far. Even Chega being our leader and her 65 would have to tip her cap. She could be equaled or surpassed. It's a 64 if Pak Young is able to birdie that. It's a nice on from the right side of the fairway. Chung Soo-yeon at 10. This should break to the left. It does. That's well read and well put. That makes it 4 players at 7 under now. Only 113 meters remaining for Kim Min-sol after her drive at 11. From the rough, about 2/3 of a swing. Rolls that through the hilly stretch of rough separating the fairway and the green. But couldn't get it up, no loft. She runs that quickly all the way down and through the green. Next up, Moon Jung-min, 141 meters. Leads her to pull 7-iron out the bag. Stays on the front third and stays in the middle. This Elysian Jeju in this Olympic-inspired tournament, hole number 11, inspired by the great nation of Canada. My home and native land. And drive. Wasn't able to stay in the fairway. Kochi one missing ever so slightly to the right. Keeping with the theme of nations, number 1 takes its inspiration and its namesake from Greece. Here's Kure-hyun. Just a slightly faded drive. Have no problem staying in the fairway there. And here's Idayon, 9-iron is her selection. Looking at 119 to the pin. She goes right at it and is rewarded for it. Don't often see that much precision from a 9-iron. That's typically reserved for the wedges. That's a really nice shot. Chung Soo-yeon's drive, fresh off her birdie. Basically a bullseye right down the middle of the fairway at the Narrows. Won Soo-min, one of our amateurs this week and a national team player. Kim Soo-ji headlining our next group to be released onto the back nine. 6-time KLPGA champion. Looking for her first win of the season. She's running out of time to find it. Just here at Elysian or next week at Sowon Hills. Took it all the way to a playoff last year with Montez Somme. It took 2 playoff holes, in fact. But ultimately, 2 pars in a row, she fell just short of the title. Moon Jung-min knew this was going to break plenty, and despite that, nearly found a way. Lips out, a close call. An Chi-won hasn't quite seen the same level of success as yesterday. She's even at the turn. Next is Chung Soo-yeon. That's a great approach at 10. Unfortunately, a different pin placement here at 11. Howling tailwind helps her reach the green. Strong drive sends her and the rest of this final group away. Kochi 1, she has been setting the pace. Combination of some great irons and wedges and an equally impressive putter. She's nearly pin high again. And that was coming out of the rough. Quite the shot. Lee Dae-yeon now downhill. Here it comes. Oh, so close. Did just about everything perfectly there. She is perplexed as to how that's going to have to be a par. Now Sogyo Reem. Splits the difference amongst her group mates already on the green. A little more than a mid-range putt coming up. This is Kim Min-ju for a birdie. A little left to right break. There she goes. This would set the course record for the week so far. Park Young-kyung just off. Speed was exactly where it needed to be. Just didn't quite give herself enough distance. to the outside of the pin. 67. Very impressive round to thrust herself into contention, into one of the featured groups tomorrow. Feeling good, and she should be. That's one way to make sure you don't miss a shot. Tell you what, those fans that power those paragliders, they are certainly doing less work here than they might be doing elsewhere in the nation. A little more tiring than you think, those things as well. Pretty loud. Seat's not too comfy, but your seat's not too bad, pardon me. It's pretty comfy, but your hands above your head to steer, it's a bit of a workout. Next approach officially fully on the fringe. Rolls out to the back right corner. Back to 11, Chung Soo-yeon. This has 2-putt par written all over it. She's trying to defy the odds. About 20 centimeters at the most. It's a tap-in par. Che Gabin, she was our leader after day 1. Still very much has an opportunity to reclaim that status with a few extra holes in hand. Her effort at 10 with the pitching wedge is just a bit short. So Reem, 9.5 meters for 7 under. Not quite the speed, though. Kim Soo-ji preparing her approach. Coach Chi-won to make this a 3-stroke advantage. Should break left to right. Downhill, it'll move. She's got another. Enviable scorecard, to put it mildly. And showing no signs of slowing down. Well, she lost the handle on the follow-through, but still pretty good results. They're slightly to the outside right. Shagabin. Just a gentle pitch, lifting it up, setting it down through the fringe, mostly on line. Should be able to get up and down. And at 14, we do have a birdie. Sungana, 3 of them already through her first 5 holes of this back 9. She's up to 6 under. And she won, trying to follow suit. A little far off it. Coach Yuan fresh off that birdie, teeing off of the par 3 12th with a 7-iron. She's just operating at a different level today. This is Kim Soo-ji. Wasn't going to lack for speed. Next up at 12, Sokyo Reem, also with a 7. Kim Soo-ji with a nice finish. Dealing with a little bit of wind right at her. Tee shot, the last in the group, is the shortest. Not necessarily troublesome just yet. approach that has gone slightly left of the target. Not a bad spot to miss, though, realistically, over there. Basically plays like an extended fringe. Okay, June. At the last, straight to the back where she'd want to be. Showing the rest of her group how it's done. Another hole where she's influenced and assisted by the tailwind. Making sure she reaches with no problems. Han Hyo Ri, the amateur. Tee shot at number 1. Seven under for Kim Soo-ji after 28 of these 72 holes to glory. The moment in the spotlight for those just beginning in their back nines on hole number 1. And she won. In group 31, a blast to send her to the right side of this 11th fairway. That thing was absolutely rocketed off the tee and might have even gained some speed on the first bounce of the fairway. She was expecting a lot of break. She didn't get much of it at all. Stayed mostly straight. Okay, June. 7 under, nearly a lip out on the inside. Only one bogey recorded. It was on hole number 2, a 68 in the second round for a tied for 6th, 6 under. Quite the day for her. She headlines that T6 mark of which we just spoke. Pak Young in her 67, tied with the defending champion Mata Som, Kim Soo-jeet, Moon Jung-min, and Pak Ju-young, who shot a 65 today. No slouch either. Tied for third. Che Gabin, who started the day in the lead, is trailing by 3. Kochi 1's tournament at the moment. As we take a quick break at Elysian. And welcome back. Nearly chipping in for a hole out to mark our return. It's Sogyo Reem with a close call. Speaking of, it's a pretty good effort, that as well. You'd have to think with just that little bit of rain this morning, the greens are playing nice and soft. Excellent putt. Very well judged. Let's see if that birdie can spark some kind of a run here on the back nine. Keep this birdie train rolling. No sign of slowing down. That's a lovely putt. Coach E1 makes this, and she goes to 12 under. Tricky one downhill. Just a bit too much break for her. That's good news for Che Gabin and the chasing pack, but certainly one she'd like a do-over of. Kim Soo-ji has a big tree to contend with. With the wedge, she should have no problem getting up and over it. Didn't quite have enough club, did she? We'll go to 13 with Im Jin Young. Starting at the fringe and hitting the flag as she makes that stick for her first birdie of the day. It's been a long time coming. Gets her just rewards. And G1 is up next. Is that in good and close? Here's Chung Soo-yeon. 354-meter par 4. Heads left and ends up in a good spot. Side by side with their group mates. Looking at 5 meters or so. Coaching one away into the fairway. Chef's kiss on that. A specialty. 2.5, 3 meters with a little break, and birdie will be all hers. Now Choi Yun here at 9. It's basically level with the pin, needs to run it up the hill. Choi Yun, 2 putts and the end of the round, a 70. She's back under par now and should be very safely inside the cut. And that is so close to yet another birdie, but gently over top the right edge of the cup and not going to fall. Here's Pungmin Ji, only 50 meters to go on the par 5, and she goes off the flag. That would have been for the eagle. It's a short putt for a birdie thanks to that great wedge shot. Here's Kim Soo-ji with the wind at her back. Actually sails past the cup, pardon me. That will be a trickier putt for par, pardon me, than would be expected. That is a very good on. Che Gabin, this is for 9 under. Wiggles to the right and misses away. Not to be outdone, all 3 members of this group deserve to take a bow. Easy work of the par 5. Unsongi, I think, might be just closest to the pin. Han Chi-won, is she going to have enough? Yes, just. It's a sigh of relief as much as anything. Good putt. That effort from Moon Jung-min struck way too firm. It sails past at 12. .81 meters for Sogyo Reem. Zips back with a little back spin. Kim Soo-ji saves that par and keeps herself very much knocking on the door of the leader. Delivered up towards the pin of the back left corner of the green with precision. And Shega Bean here, after seeing Kim Soo-ji's par, would like to replicate it. She's made 96, nearly 96 and a half of her par saves this week, and she can add another. On 13, it's Kochi one, putting downhill, looking for a birdie. It's a tricky one, and she succumbs to that level of difficulty. Here's Kim Soo-ji, 6-iron, over the water, over the sand. It's looking a fair bit right, though. You can follow that shot tracer from the tee and see she's on the opposite side of the green. A bit of a head scratcher, that one. Well, that is much more like it. Within 5 or 6 meters of the pin, a good tee shot. This par 3 12th at 145 meters makes it the second shortest hole on course, trailing only the 7th at 136. Next hole up on the docket, 13. That's where we find Sogyo Reem putting for birdie. Needs this to straighten out. Starts to bend back right. A second too late. She's ever so slightly missed. Kim Min-ju does the same. Change directions a touch after catching some of the cup, but kept that flag in for a reason. Couldn't quite locate it. Chung Soo-yeon. This is for 8 under. One she should absolutely be able to make. No. Too much speed. She does a full lap around the hole, pops back out the other side. We'll keep her at 7 under par. As we refresh the leaderboard again, we can see our projected cut line at +1 and our leader's advantage at 3 strokes. Kochi 1 from Che Gabin and a group at 7 under, Pak Ju-young, Kim Min-ju, Chung Soo-yeon, and Kim Soo-ji. We'll be back in a few minutes for more as the second hour of the second round of the S-Oil Championship will begin. And welcome back. 3 p.m. local time here in Jeju City. Second round of the S-Oil Championship continues. Great to have you along with us. The second last event of the year. We are seeing quite the shootout amongst those in the top 10. Kim Min-ju had a chance for a birdie, missed. Almost the same distance away for par. She misses. And it's a 3-putt bogey, and she can hardly believe it. Let's fast forward to the 18th. Hyun-Se Rin, 113 meters. She needs to go all the way to the back today to find the pin. But she's stuck on the front, and that will be a rather long look at a birdie. Here's Im Jin-young, pardon me, 90 meters out. And at this par 5, pin's actually a little bit lower. And she nearly is able to find an eagle. That was tracking perfectly. She and her caddy can hardly believe it. Nearly off the flagstick. That's an excellent shot. Back to 12. Kim Soo-ji looking at 8 under, but the more we zoom out and pan across, we see just how long a putt this is. She's one of the best on tour at these 20-plus meter putts. That will almost feel like a birdie being that close. Chung Soo-yeon will have the next shot. It's her second at the par 5 at 277 meters. She did exactly what she would have been expected to do. Takes a good chunk of the remaining distance away and stays in the fairway. Mission accomplished. Han Chi-won trying to save a par at 12. Break of the ball has her split her partner's ball marker and the pin. She has to tap in one more time. Ko Chi-won, our leader. It's a back-located pin today at 14, so as much distance as can be accumulated through 2 shots will certainly help out anyone's birdie hopes. Che Gabin can move within 2 here on the par 3. It's going to break hard right, but does it at the perfect time, and that's now 9 under. Im Jin-young, a little more than a tap in. 4 under after 14 now. Most impressive shot was the setup. Able to realize her birdie. A little more than a nudge. We'll go to 18 again. This time it's Hyun-Se Rin. Looking short. Stopping about 4 meters. Maybe not quite 4 meters. 2.5. Either way, she'll need 1 more. Chung Soo-yeon, setup time, 103. Nice little move back towards the middle. Very good approach. wedges have been near perfect today. She just needs that putter to join the party. G1 not much further away. Decent effort of her own. .72 meters for Moon Jung-min. The backspin comes in at the perfect moment. Windy shot. Left to right, a little cut. Can absolutely dream of a birdie on the walk up. Just as Sogia Reem will be able to do, should she move this close enough. It's only 63 meters, that's when your high lofted wedges come into play. And she shows that she is dialed into her short game. Jen Serene one-ups her performance from yesterday, shooting a 69 today, 5 under after 36 holes.
Shot.
Sometimes it's worth letting the gallery do the commentary, roaring at Peng Min-ji's birdie. As one of the true greats of the last decade, picks up another on the par 5. Well, we have seen just an absolutely shocking number of missed putts from a meter, meter and a half over the last 45 minutes and change. This certainly doesn't sit in the same category from as close, but it's a second hole running where Coach Yuan is unable to reach 12 under par. Moon Jung-min, she's disappointed that it's a par, and the risk of sounding too harsh, she should beat. That's one she absolutely has to have.
나이스 버디! 석현우 화이팅!
Looking up towards the green at 13, skipping in twice. We're coming to a comfortable rest.
이동 멈춰주세요.
Be a putt from inside of 5 meters. So a couple of short yards and a birdie on the scorecard. It's a tidy bit of business.
보이는 탑은 95야.
Jay Gabin, 98 meters. Looking up at the flag. That is certainly reminiscent of yesterday when she went sprinting up the leaderboard. As if drawn into the flag like a moth to the flame. And is that a little bit more of the sun peeking out of the clouds, shining down on the heart of this second round? Here's Kim Soo-ji. She will technically be the furthest from the pin, but those are 3 tremendous shots. Blue skies everywhere you look. In this case, looking south to the sea. It's a picturesque scene. So often, we're starting and ending our seasons on Jeju. About as far south as you can get in this great nation, and it's home to some wonderful golf courses. Next week off to So-Won Hills in Paju. Back into the mountains for one final time in 2025. We'll take a quick break and be back with more. The S-Oil Championship continues. picking up the action with Kim Soo-ji. The longest of the 3 putts. His back right located pin today. She comes awfully close. No birdies for her this time around. Coach E1 at 15. Let's see how she fares. I'd say we'd call that average. Not her best, certainly not her worst. Kim Ji-hyun with her 3rd birdie of the back 9 and her 5th of the day. Only a trio of holes to play, and she is up to 7 under. Sogyo Riemann a 6-iron at the 15th. She gets a very helpful carom to the left. We'll have a downhill putt to contend with, though. And then started left early and keeps on running. Chung Soo-yeon within 3. 4 holes remaining. It's a 6-iron for her, looking to get up. Pin's about half the way through the depth of the green and off to the left. 2 different approaches in succession. One to the back and that one to the front. Che Gabin to close the gap to the leader to 1, and she still has some more holes in hand. But no. Well, Matt Tassom is feeling more and more like a fortune teller by the hole. Putting will be the difference, she said. Short putts like that on Friday, they feel less significant, but they all add up. Only 123 meters this approach. Could not be more in line with the flag, covering it by maybe a foot or 2. It's a fantastic on. Next in a series of pars from this group. She just avoids the sand trap. Stuck in a perilous position in the rough between the fairway and green. Unable to get that up and down. She'll go basically all the way to the fringe. Jigabin beginning this par 5. Still single digits under par. And that drive looks like it has it rolling out of the fairway and into the rough. Sogio Ream looking for 8 under here at 15. Needs to stay straight. Even at the end, suggested that it wanted to move back to the left again at the end. Next drive here also right, but this one stays in the fairway. Off the driver of Kim Soo-ji. Chung Soo-yeon for birdie and 9 under. It would be a Herculean effort. She went for speed overriding any other thought. Kim Si-hyun on the penultimate hole, 110. Just past the fringe. It's in a pretty good spot. Matesson coming centimeters away from her birdie. She taps in and ends the round with a par. She stays bogey free, picks up 2 on the front and 2 on the back. It's 6 under for the defending champion at the midway point of the tournament. Collectively, the field's in a bit of a rut right now. The birdies are becoming increasingly hard to come by. And just as we wonder when the next one is going to come and whom it's going to come from, we get our answer. Had a couple of holes recently where she's left wanting more. That will feel like a bit of a relief. Chung Soo-yeon avoids the bogey. She rolls in the par. Kinawi Dayan. 5 under, narrowly. Just sneaks that inside. Well, we can fairly say this is less than ideal for Han Chi-won. 283 in her second. She's essentially just punching this back out into the fairway. A little more than that, but she lost her angle. Yu-Hyun Jo looking at potentially 6 under here, the 17th. That's a marvelous putt. The pressure is on her this week. Good result could take her closer to No Seung-hee for second in the points, money list. The point she's just about wrapped up already. Kim Ji-hyun knows she's dropping. She wants to minimize the damage by making this bogey putt. But she's missed. She will go from 7 under to at least 5 under, barring the outcome of that next putt. Further back on 14, it's Che Gabin. She's missed right. She's in the first cut of rough, close to the second. Kim Jin-young up the hill, breaking. Maybe breaking a bit too early. No birdie for her here. That's a nice putt. It is a par save. Che Gabin's third shot of the par 5. You wouldn't have known that she was in the rough based on that outcome. Take another look. How many times in every round we watch do we see a shot from that lie end up off the green, well past the pin? Very, very rarely do we see that inside of 20, 25 centimeters. It raises the bar for Kim Soo-ji. She's been known to impress with this club more than her fair share of times in her career. Going to 15. Well, when you see that putter, you know who is wielding it. Kim Woo-jung just missing. She goes without birdie on the back nine. One bogey for a 37 on the way in. More and more players coming through and finalizing their rounds. What's certainly not finalized is how this top three will shape up. No difference between Ko Chi-won and Che Gabin since our last update. Chung Soo-yeon at 8 under now through 15. So-gyo Rim, Moon Jung-min, Kim Soo-ji all out there, but Kim Soo-ji only 1 under after 13, hoping to build to that when we return and find her on the green of the par 5. welcoming you back with some more tee shots on the last par 3 of the round. That is hole 16. Benji 1 and Co. not quite there. Didn't quite get it down in time as she rolls well past the pin. Kim Soo-ji's bid to close the gap to 3. Too much movement on that putt will force her into another par. Arriving at the par 3, number 16. Not quite the distance to clear the downslope. She'll roll back towards the front corner. The gallery shouting and hoping that the ball would hang on, but it moves rather frantically towards the front fringe. And G1 trying to save a par and just by the skin of her teeth, able to get there. Sangana, an 81-meter approach at the par 5. Now this is her 5th, so that was always the setup for a bogey. But she appears to have shrunk the scope of the damage thanks to her earlier penalty. Jagabin has a second birdie in her last 3 holes after being in a bit of a dry spell. She is within 1 late in her round. Firmly struck putt that ends up on the fringe. Jagabin, an unorthodox swing. She knew something was awry, and there's our answer to what. She's well right. Bit of a slice on that shot. So Young, 2 strokes under par at the end of 36 holes with a nice birdie made at 18. The long par 5 begins. Beg your pardon. At the end of the long par 5, some respite with the 15th beginning. Under 4 holes in her second round. Now Chung Soo-yeon, she's up on the hill near the bushes. Just past the fringe, she lands that short pitch. Maybe a bit too shallow with the benefit of hindsight. Pacquiao can't get it to fall with her 5th on 18. We will go next, back with our leader. She has been at 11 under for some time. Chegabin starting to close the gap. She could use a birdie or 2 to build the buffer, but it's not going to come here. Fourteen and a half meters. It's Moon Jung Min. That's a respectable outcome. Now Sogyo Reem, tricky putt here at the 16th. Long one, but also downhill. The speed really tough to judge. Couldn't quite solve it. So I'm going to add 2 bogeys on the round, 4 and the last, with 4 birdies sandwiched in between. She finishes with a 70 on Friday. And that one's going to go. Nice save. Now for a bogey. Left to right breaking. Just over a meter away. An even par round of 72 today. She's tied for 24th with a 3 under score. Coach, you won. If she misses, she loses the lead, at least the outright possession of it. Able to save her par, but she knows that her advantage is starting to slip away. Chegabin a 4-iron, the rare 4-iron with her second. She needed some more distance, and that was the club she chose to try to get it. She misses well right. It's rough to rough. See if Hunchy One has any better luck. Oh, she's on the green, but a long way away. Kim Soo-ji reaches the green, also still quite some distance away as we go next to Chung Soo-yeon on the 17th. The final par 4 of the round. Uses every bit of available grassy real estate to the right of the fairway. Kim Min-ju from the corner of the green. Well read. She has been desperate for that birdie for some time. She finds it at the last. 4 under 68 in this second round. It is 7 under after 36 holes. Yoo-Hyun Jo also in. Her score is a 6 under, the midway point of the tournament. Isn't she? Kim Ji-yeon, after a double bogey at the 17th, she was really even after those first 2 pickups early on the back 9. Certainly an eventful day. Top 3 remains unchanged. Chung Soo-yeon within 3 through 16 in that same group with Ko Chi-won. Che Gabin has the luxury of 4 more holes to go, though she is on the green. at the 15th. That's where we'll head when we return. Also of note, the projected cut has moved up to even. So anything over par doesn't seem to be enough to cut it. One of the many things we'll continue to track as our third hour of coverage of the second round of the S-Oil Championship continues after the break. And welcome back. As we near the 4 o'clock hour here in Jeju. It's the important final hour. The rounds of so many of our contenders. So Gyorim, she misses the fairway. It's picturesque though, isn't it? Beneath the trees. She approaches over the water. It's the back right corner of the green and ends up still essentially on the fringe. And she was unable to solve the complex screen with that putt. Now Chung Soo Yan on 17. Trying to stay as close to the front right as possible. She ends up in the middle. Here's Coach Yuan. She has chosen 7-iron. 120. Also up the hill over the sand. Tucked in neatly beside her group mate. Dealing with a bit of a headwind. Right to left breaking putt down towards the flag, but a little short. So Gyorim was always a hopeful look at a birdie. Certainly from that position off the green, trades in the wedge for the putter. Brand new Porsche on offer for anyone who might dare solve this hole with one stroke. Kim Soo-ji with one last glance at the notebook. She'll be seeing the same piece of paper that I'm looking at, which will reveal to her the pin placement today, which is 26 yards off the front of the green and 8 yards from the left. Basically a perfect line to the outside of the bunker, just before the green. She has chosen 6-iron. And She goes into the back left corner. Chung Soo-yeon, meanwhile on the par 4, just after 16. Good first effort. After Hunchi 1's approach, we head over to Kochi 1, rolling in a par to take that 11 under score to the 18th hole. 6-iron as well for Che Gavin. Different outcome than Kim Soo-ji's, and in fact she's going to roll even closer to the front fringe as she lands on the downslope. The advantage remains at 2 for Kochi 1 from Che Gabin and Chung Soo-yeon at 8 under. Park Ju-young's 65, a sparkling reminder of the score of the day thus far here at Elysian. 4:11 p.m. local time in Jeju. We welcome you back to round 2 of the S-Oil Championship. This is Im Jin-young playing her approach at the 18th. Narrowly missing getting up to the back corner of the green. She might even hit her groupmate's ball. That's how close she came. It is certainly a test on 18 today with the back left pin placement on what is already a very long 508-meter par 5. Chang Soo-yeon about to begin what I suppose is only fair to call a hike to the green. Very much uphill. Kim Soo-ji on this par 3, 16th. 8 under is the prize on offer. Dives down and inside a little early. Taps in for the par and is down to her final 2 holes. Still tied for 4th position. Tied for 8th, So-gyo Rim. 7 players currently at that score. She's the only one who still hasn't finished her round. She birdied here yesterday at the last. And her drive sends her mostly down the middle of the fairway, and so far, the furthest off the tee. Back to 17 with Moon Jung-min and her 9-iron 111. Narrowly avoids the bunker. She is in the little stretch of rough separating the trap from the green. Ko Chi-won has been without a birdie since the 11th hole after shooting a 30 on the way out. She has been just about perfectly on par on 7 of the 9 holes so far. Would love one more just to build a bit more of a buffer heading into Saturday. First up on 18 is Im Jin-young up the hill towards the flag. One didn't quite have enough on the putt to solve. As we head back to 18. It's Im Jin-young, who had a tough front 9 with back-to-back bogeys at 4 and 5, but picked up birdies at 13, 14, and 17 to finish today with a 71. Han Chi-won, pardon me, has now solidified that par. And we can now watch with keen interest Moon Jung-min from the rough at 17. She drops that in pretty well. She's had 4 birdies now today, but bogeys at 8 and 11. only has her on a -2 for the afternoon. Kim Soo-ji was absolutely dynamite on these final 2 holes yesterday, picking up birdies at both 17 and 18. Her first shot today rolls expertly down the middle of the fairway, just where we find Coach Yuan and company, all side by side of each other on 18. Her second shot continues that trend. So far, so good. Couldn't quite locate it. She is somewhere in the corner near the trees. Not entirely sure if that's still in the fairway or if she has rolled into the rough. We'll find out in a few moments. 270 for Chung Soo-yeon and her hybrid. It's right towards the sprinkler. This is a par putt for Moon Jung-min, trying to avoid a bogey, and has done exactly that. She'll consider that a good outcome heading to the 18th tee. .268 for Sogyo Rim. She wants a wood, not the hybrids. Skips out left and into the rough. Well, this pivotal final hour of the day, we will see if that top 3 changes any in the next 25 minutes or so as we take another break and promise to return promptly as our second round coverage of the S-Oil Championship will resume here at Elysian Jeju. And welcome back. After an approach towards the green, we have Kim Soo-ji at 17 trying to do the same. At the par 4. She plunks it in the sand short of the green. She was trying to be aggressive with even a meter more carry. She's probably off the fringe end nice and tight, but instead she's in a little bit of trouble. Kochi won her third at 18. She hits the flag, lands about a centimeter before it, and makes a almost gunshot sounding ricochet off the yellow paint and is brought all the way back to the fringe. She can hardly believe it. It was artillery level reverberating around the course. And she won on her second, also well short. I think maybe she'll prefer that lie to Kim Soo-ji, who we've seen, or of which we've seen so many people try to get up and down from the sand and really struggle to do so. So Gilrain 60 meters even towards the flagstick, heads to the back and lands there safely. She'll have some company by the looks of things. This 17th hole, a tricky one to find a solution for. Take another look at this. Maybe let's take another listen at this. I don't know that she could do that again if we offered her 100 more shots at it. And now the result is a long putt or chip. Interestingly, despite being 26 meters away, our leader has elected for the putter. Never really had the break back towards the middle, but in terms of distance control, she was pretty close to spot on. Oh, lipping out off the edge and narrowly away. We get a look at the lie, and she must have come down with some force to essentially sit in a bowl. Well, of all the bids we've seen from that exact position today, that is by far the best. That's a close call, but she's off left. Well, she does really well, Coach E1, to avoid a bogey, just as she had done on the previous 17 holes today. A remarkable 30 on the way out. That birdie momentum did begin to slow, but she does finish as our leader comfortably in front at an 11 under par score. So Reem, the next to look at the par. Fair bit of break for such a short putt. 70 for her today. It's a top 10 standing after 2 rounds. T8 and 6 under. Five and a half meters for Kim Soo-ji to try to save her par and stay within 4. It's an admirable effort, but bogey will in fact be the result for her here at 17. This is Jung Soo-yeon to secure a 3rd place score at the midway mark of the round. In the 60s, both on Thursday and Friday, 67, 69 for 8 under par. That's within 3 of the lead. Chegabin The closest to catch, Kochi 1. She's going to drop to 8 under and ensures it's no more than that. So now it's Chang Soo-yeon and Chega being tied for second with that 8 under par score. Lee Ji-hyun 3, who was very much in contention at this time yesterday. She had shot a 67. She's 2 over after 17. Cleaning to do for Lee Dae-yeon on the face of that wedge after a few practice swings in the wet rough. A pretty tricky one. Needing to shape this with a fade. And make sure she has the speed as well. She did both of those things quite well indeed. .77 meters and 7 under is Moon Jung-min as she approaches the ball, also in the rough. A bit more of a clean line at the pin. She's just able to stay up. Quickly onto the 18th tee, Kim Soo-ji begins. Runs that right down the fairway. She won now, all the way down at 4 under. That's tied for 21st. Looking to bounce back after bogey. Certainly not the way that she would have hoped this day would have gone. Seven back now, looking ahead to the weekend. Birdie here becomes ever more important. Chega Bin 24 hours ago, she was already well through her round and watching her competitors try to chase her. She ends up in the rough off the tee at 8 under, beginning this 18th and final hole of the afternoon. Moon Jung-min has a putt for 8 under. 6.5 meters, it's unlikely, but we'll never say never. Not quite as prolific as yesterday when she shot her 67. Even par on the way in. 4 birdies altogether on the day with 2 bogeys as well. That will leave from this group EG on 3. This for 4 under par. Just off to the inside, so a tap in for a par at the last. She is 8 back after 36 holes and was not able to find a single birdie today. 16 pars and 2 bogeys in round number 2. Be a share of a tie for 7th if Dayon can convert on this birdie. Here goes the bids, and she's found it. One of just 3 today with bogeys on the front and back, a 71 in this second round Friday. Jagabin second from the rough. Unable to rediscover the fairway. It's rough to rough out towards the cart path. Much different circumstance facing Kim Soo-ji. Not looking to knock this along with her hybrids. She is 2 for 2. And she won the last for the second shots, and she joins Kim Soo-ji out into the rough. Just looking to survive to the end. She's certainly fighting it a bit in this final section of the second round. Well, it's turned into an absolutely stunning day here in Jeju. Hardly a cloud to be seen in the sky. A Bluebird Friday to begin the weekend. And that is mostly what we're looking at for the final 2 rounds as well. Little bit of rain in the forecast for each of Saturday and Sunday morning, but it should resemble this by the most important parts of the final 2 rounds. Saying goodbye to October. We'll have just 5 competitive days of golf remaining on the schedule before the WeMix Championship to truly put a bow on what has been another fabulous year on the KLPGA Tour. Who will head to Sowon Hills with 180 million, one more to their name. Kim Soo-ji find a way to keep climbing and ultimately pick up her first win of 2025. For the last handful of years, it has felt like a near certainty that she would be in the winner's circle at least once. And she won the furthest from the pin. She will play the first approach of the group. 108. Takes a healthy divot on the front right of the green, close to the middle. Yesterday, that would have been a near perfect approach, considering where the pin had been. Kim Soo-ji, maybe a bit more of a better kick than we had anticipated. From the fairway with her third. Goes about 3 meters deeper. Leaves Chegabin 105, the last approach. Tied for second. A birdie would give her second outright. All three are on. She has the most distance to manage when she trades that wedge in for her putter. Well, it's closing time now. Each of these three athletes all thinking, I would love nothing more than to be done in one stroke. aerial view does pretty good representation of the various slopes that make up this 18th green.
살짝 내리막으로 가야 될 것 같은데. 최대가 아니라 그냥 나는 딱 그 정도 보여.
Chegabin. It's for a score of 9 under. At the very least, she should be sharing second. But this would give her the outright runner-up position. Just a fraction less than 11 meters, looking good. Just missing to the outside right. After her 65 in the opening round, she has to settle for a 1 under 71 today. Tied at that 8 under score with Chung Soo Yeon. That's 136 strokes through 36 holes. And she won down 17 positions from where she started the day. This is her 72nd shot of the round, but unfortunately for her, not her last. She has some esteemed company at 4 under. Cheonu, Hong Jung-min, No Sung-yi. And assuming she, in a few moments, is able to tap in that par, we'll add her name to that list, tied for 20th. First up will be Kim Soo-ji. It was a 66 for her yesterday. She finished as one of the joint runner-ups. On pace for an even par 72, unless she can find a way in with this birdie. Left to right breaking down the hill, but swooping to the outside. Once again today, rounds finished and players and caddies thinking I need a bit more time on the putting green. So many of these players, only 2 more weeks left before they get a well-deserved break. That means there are still 5 more days of pure focus remaining. Such an important time of the year. Kim Soo-ji reaches the finish line today with her 72nd stroke. Tied for 7th at 6 under. Last year's runner-up here at the SBSOIL Championship. And for Han Chi-won, shot 73. It's a par at the last, a 6-stroke difference from our opening round effort, 4 under after 36 holes. And that brings us to the end of our second round. Chance to look back at the best moments of the day with our second round highlights. And let's start with Jay Gabin, who teed off at 11 a.m. local time. Nearly 6 hours ago. Picking up an early birdie and was hoping that would set her round on the right course. Coach E1 found birdies early and often. She absolutely dominated this front 9 with truly an unprecedented score. We'll see lots of her birdies over the course of this highlight pack. For Buck Koo Young, meanwhile, we didn't see much of her at all today, but what we can tell you is that through 18 holes, she only bogeyed once and also was able to pick up an eagle as she raced to a 7 under finish. That's Chen Ji, who knows a thing or two about winning this S-Oil Championship and knows a thing or two about winning around the world. She was fantastic on the day as well. Much like Coach E1, this was her birdie at 11. She would par out from there. So that 11 under par score would be where she finished. We go to 12 for that birdie from Chung Soo-yeon. She'd only picked up a couple on the front 9, 1 and 3. That was one of her 2 on the back 9. This was quite the effort as well. Nearly another eagle on the par 5 14th. She would, though, have to settle for just a tap-in birdie, pardon me, which would bring her to even par through 14 holes and 4 under. Chung Soo-yeon birdies at 12 and 14. She would go up to 7 under at that point. This is a brilliant way to finish the round. With her 6th and final birdie of the day. This is when things got really dicey for Coach E1. Her approach at 18 smacks the flag stick. She would roll all the way back to the front, in fact, off the green. But with a setup putt and a finishing putt, securing that round of 65 bogey-free to sit 3 strokes ahead. And she was 3 strokes ahead because Che Gabin got herself into a little bit of trouble, didn't she? Just avoiding the bunker, but being in an unenviable section of rough. She would be able to secure bogey and avoid dropping any further than 3 back, but it was certainly a stumbling block late in the round. More from 18. It was Che Gabin with the 71. From early in the round, but that would be a score that was also reached towards the end of the day as well by Chung Soo-yeon. The 2 players there, they share tied for 2nd. Just in behind Kochi 1 and her 65. A score also met by Park Joo-young today. No slouch either was Park Young with a 67. Tied for 7th. A 9-way tie for 7th, where Kim Soo-ji also finds herself at day's end. We didn't quite get all the way down towards the expected cut line. We had seen it improve to even, and that looks to be steady and confirmed. So any over par scores from the 96 players that started and played these first 2 rounds, not going to cut it, despite Lee Dong-eun picking up an eagle today in a just short cause with her 71. We will sign off from the Elysian Jeju course for round number 2 today, and we'll remind you of our slight scheduling shift tomorrow. The weekend rounds will begin 1 hour earlier. That will be 1 p.m. local time here in Jeju. For all of us with the KLPGA Tour, I've been Adam Jenkins, thanking you for joining us. We will return tomorrow for moving day at the 2025 S-Oil Championship, where the cream will continue to rise to the top in the second to last tournament of the year on the KLPGA Tour.